Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today I am going to be giving you guys my January book haul. Technically, this is a book haul that I have collected over the past few months, but I'm just showing them to you now. Well, I can't talk today. I'm showing the haul to you now, and there's a lot of goodies in here. I'm really excited to tell you guys about them, and I'm really excited to get into reading them. It's a big mix of young adult and adult, and I decided I'm gonna show you guys my adult pile first. So let's go ahead and get started and see what I have to show you guys. The first book that I have in my adult part of my haul is The Passenger by Lisa Lutz. Now, this is described mostly as a mix between Gone Girls and The Girl on the Train. So if you're a big fan of those books or that genre and what they're about, you will love this one. This follows a woman named Tanya Dubois who is actually running away after her husband's body is found at the bottom of the stairs. So Tanya is actually not her real name. It's one of the aliases that she goes by. And along the way, she meets a cop and a woman who may be friend or foe. And it's pretty much her trying to cover her tracks, as well as apparently there is a dark secret that is following her. So I'm very intrigued about this one. I love my thrillers and my mysteries. I really loved Gone Girl. I haven't read the book yet. I'm planning on it. But when I watched the movie, I really loved Gone Girl. So I'm very excited about that. I still have to read The Girl on the Train. It's on my book pile that I have. But I'm excited to get into this one. Plus the cover really attracted me. I just love how pretty the cover is, and it's definitely dark and mysterious. And I'm hoping to get to this one real soon. The next book that I have here for you guys is What Happened That Night by Sandra Block. This follows a woman named Dahlia who is a very successful Harvard student. One night she is unfortunately viciously attacked, and she has never known who her assailant is. She doesn't have any information of what happened, and this affects her in the future. She actually becomes it says tattooed paralegal, and she's suffering from PTSD. One day, finally, she ends up seeing what happened to her, and after seeing who her attacker is, she ends up wanting to get revenge on everyone that knew what was going on. When I was actually unboxing this at my store, and I looked at the title and read it, and I was so hooked. I think what I'm gonna do soon is maybe do like a big thriller read where I read a lot of my thrillers that I have on my list. And yeah, I'm just really excited to get into this one. Next, we have Angels of Music by Kim Newman. Now, Kim Newman, she does, I think it's like the Anno Dracula series. I think it's like a mystery series with female Dracula. Hey guys, Editing Cassie here. Just wanted to say that my description of the Anno Dracula series is not correct. It is I'm looking at my note here. It is an can't talk today as well, I guess, but it is an alternate history of Dracula, and it's a big series, and there's a lot of I think it starts like in the 1800s and it goes through different time periods. So that is what that series is about. This is actually her retelling of the Phantom of the Opera. I know, you probably are saying in the back of your mind, Cassie, you have not liked any of the retellings. This one seems like it's going to be a little bit different. Here in this one, you have Eric, who is in charge of a female detective agency that's underground, and they actually are in charge of investigating crimes that people do not want in the public eye. I'm hoping I'm gonna love this. I'm hoping it's not gonna disappoint me. I feel like if I read this and I hate it, I'm just gonna have to give up on all the Phantom of the Opera retellings and just be like, you know what? I'm glad that I watched the musical, saw the movie first before I read anything. Keep your fingers crossed that this is going to be one that I will keep on my shelf and want to read all the time. This next one here was actually one of my clearance reads. We have a really great clearance section where Our clearance books are $1.50 each, or if you get 4 of them, they're $5 for the whole bundle, which is a sweet deal. And this was one, as I was browsing our clearance section, caught my attention. The cover is so pretty, and that is The Evidence Against Her by Rob Foreman Dew. This one is touted as being a story about the marriage of 3 families in a small Ohio town in the early 1900s. Now, in this town, the 3 families have a child each, and they become inseparable, but they become best friends. One day, a girl comes into town who is new and catches the eye of one of them, and it seems like there's going to be some kind of like mystery or betrayal or something in it, but I just love the cover. The cover was very intriguing, and then after reading the back of the book and like the synopsis, it seems like it's going to be a really good book. I feel like there's going to be a lesson that is learned. It might be more of a coming of age, but definitely I'm excited. I always say I'm excited to get into my books, but I definitely am, and this is one I'm hoping that I will get to soon. This one here is another one that I found on our clearance shelf, and I had to have it because I have the first one. This is the 3rd book that is in the series, and it is Soul Surrender by Katana Collins. This series is actually not a paranormal, but it's a romance that features Monica, who is a fallen angel, and she's in a weird predicament because she needs people's souls to stay alive, and the only way she can get them is, cover your ears if you don't want to hear this, she gets them through orgasms. So she has to sleep with all these different people so she can stay alive. These next 2 that I have are actually a duology series, and they're very intriguing because I have always been fascinated with history. A lot of books that I have showed you guys are historical fictions or just very interesting time periods that I love reading. And this one is no different, and it actually follows the Bonnie and Clyde storyline. And that is Becoming Bonnie, which is the first one, and then Side by Side, both of them by Jenny L. Walsh. This one is going to be following Bonnie Parker before she meets Clyde, and she has these dreams of becoming the showgirl. If you've seen the movie with, I believe it's Faye Dunaway that plays Bonnie, you kind of see that in that movie, that she has these showbiz dreams. She wants to be this famous person. So this is her, and she ends up meeting Clyde, I believe, at a club one night. And then this one picks up after she meets him, and I believe when this one starts off, he is in jail, and she's trying to find ways that she can get him out of jail. And then I'm pretty sure we're going to be following the Bonnie and Clyde spree that happens. So these just seem really good. I'm so excited to get into it. Bonnie and Clyde has always been a story that has fascinated me, and they were like in that time the modern day Romeo and Juliet. So definitely really excited to pick these up. I'm excited to tell you guys if I love them, because if you do, we do have several copies of these at the store, and I would love people to get these. And the last one that I have here for you guys in my adult haul is His Bloody Project by Graham McCrae Burnett. This one, I'm not sure how to describe it, and I'm not sure if it's told through real documents or not, but this one takes place in 1869 Scotland, where a triple murder of a farming community leads to the arrest of a 17-year-old boy. Now, the author says in this book that he looks through documents about the crime, and it is told through those documents. So I'm not sure if it's going to be a real storyline or not. I'm definitely might have to do some more research, but I just loved that premise, and I loved how it looked, and the fact that it's told through documents. I think that's going to be a different way that a book has been written, and I like those kind of challenges where I haven't read anything like that. So of course it's a murder mystery, so I'm really excited to see if this person actually did it or not. And yeah, and I mean, I'm hoping it's good, especially since it was a finalist for the Man Booker Prize of 2016. So whenever I see like those awards, then I'm like, okay, maybe it is a good read. So keep your fingers crossed for this one, guys. Now we are going into my YA section of my haul, and this next one I have seen over booktube before, and I was really excited that we got it because it was one that I was intrigued to read, and that is Your Welcome Universe by Whitney Gardner. This follows a girl who is a graffiti artist, and she ends up getting kicked out of her school one day because she covers up a racial slur that is painted onto the wall. The only problem is she is a deaf girl, and she ends up having to go to public school, being the only deaf girl there, and the graffiti is what she uses to kind of express herself. One day she notices one of her graffiti works has been painted with extra work that she didn't do, and she decides that she wants to figure out who this person is and go toe-to-toe with them. I think this is going to be one where I learn a lot more about the deaf community. I haven't read anything that a main character has been a part of that. Might have been like mentioned in a past, but not really focused on. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. I'm excited to see how she communicates with people. And it just seems like it's going to be a really great coming of age story. It's going to be a great story that has an important message behind it. This next one really attracted me because of the cover and reading it, and it is Those Girls by Lauren Saft. This book follows a group of 3 girls who are pretty much popular and the party girls of their school in Philadelphia, and their names are Alex, Molly, and Veronica. Sorry, I was looking down at my notes just to make sure I have that right. And each girl has a secret. Alex is in love with the boy next door, and she ends up secretly joining a band to get his attention that I believe he's also a part of as well, if I'm right. Molly has a popular but apparently a sociopathic boyfriend who has a mean streak, so I feel like there is going to be more of an abuse trigger. So if that's something that is going to deter you from reading it, I would definitely say maybe proceed with caution. We also have Veronica, who wants to be loved in any way, shape, or form. I feel like this book is going to have important messages. I do love that each girl, it's going to go through, I believe, like their different struggles that they're dealing with, and it's going to be a great coming of age story. I also feel like it's going to be a story where what you see on the outside is not necessarily what's going on the inside or behind closed doors. This next one also had a very intriguing cover, and I feel like it is going to be an LGBTQ read, and that is About a Girl by Sarah McCarry. I didn't see if it was McCrae or McCarry. So this follows an 18-year-old girl named Tally who wants to be an astronomer. She loves space and she wants to be involved in that world. One day she ends up discovering a secret about her family, and it has to deal, I believe, with more of her birth family. She ends up meeting a girl named Maddie who may unlock the key to her future. I definitely want to read more LGBTQ reads because I have found that they are very informational. A lot of the ones that I have read have been very, not perfect, but they represent the community very well, and I feel like this is going to be another one, and it seems like it's going to be a quick read. It's very thin, so I feel like it might take me a day or two depending on what kind of reading mood that I'm in. This next one I'm going to preface with a trigger warning. It has to do with sexual assault, and it's going to be a very heavy read, so I would say if it's something that you're kind of not wanting to read, definitely stay away from it. But if you do want to read it, just proceed with caution. And that is All the Rage by Courtney Summers. Courtney Summers, you may recognize that name. She actually wrote the book Sadie, and then she has a new one coming out later this year called The Project, which I'm really excited to read. I haven't read any of her work. This is the first one that I have, so I am excited to get into this and see if I like her writing. This book follows a girl named Romy who one day is unfortunately attacked by the sheriff's son, the sheriff that is in charge of her town. She tries to come forward and tell people about this, but the sheriff is viewed as a golden boy, like he wouldn't do that. So no one ends up believing her, which unfortunately is a sad reality to this day that I don't understand why no one would believe an assault victim. She ends up finding solace though in a diner that she works at in another town. No one knows what she's been through, no one knows what has happened to her, so she kind of uses that as a way to escape from the town and just people not believing that this has happened to her. One day, it is discovered that a girl has gone missing and another girl has come forward about these assault allegations against the sheriff's son, and Romy has to make a decision. Will she come forward and help in this investigation and maybe give some information into what she knows, or is she just going to stay silent? As you can definitely see, it's going to be a very heavy read. It's going to have some kind of not moral dilemma, but there's going to be a dilemma that needs to be figured out. So I'm really excited about this one, and just, you know, I do love reading the heavy subject material because I love reading those kind of situations to see what it's like for other people and just kind of educate myself. This next one I've actually had on my list for a while, but it was also technically an impulse buy, and once you see the cover, you're definitely going to understand why, and that is Sing by Vivi Green. This follows a very popular singer who, she's like Taylor Swift, and as you can see, hence why I bought this cover, because it reminds me of Red Era Taylor Swift. One day, after having her heart shattered, she decides, you know what, I am going to be going to Maine with a bunch of my girlfriends to just get away from it all, focus on my new music and my new album, and just kind of find myself. So along this summer of finding me, she bumps into a local boy named Noel.
I don't know why I said that weird. I just ignore that, and it's Noel, I think is how you say the name.
Who he actually is not a big fan of the spotlight, and she ends up having to make a decision. Does she want to give up the spotlight to be with this boy, or is she going to be following her heart and focusing on her career? So I definitely think it's going to be a lighthearted read. As you can see, it's a little bit thin too, so it's probably going to be quick, and I hope I like this one because I have had it on my Goodreads list for a while, so I'm hoping it's not going to let me down. Along the lines of being on my list for a long time, this is actually another book that I've had on my shelf for a while, and that is These Shallow Graves by Jennifer Donnelly. This follows a girl named Jo who unfortunately ends up losing her father in what is deemed a suicide. He ends up accidentally shooting himself with a loaded gun while he's cleaning it. So Jo ends up seeing this as very suspicious because she knows her father would never shoot himself. He's never had any problems. So she's trying to investigate this to see if it is a murder. I just love the cover on this one, and definitely the premise seems like it's going to be really good to read. So this next one is actually 3 books in a series, and I have to get the 4th one once we either get it in or I'm gonna have to get it from the library. But it is actually the Diviner series, and that has the 3 books that I have are The Diviners, Lair of Dreams, and then Before the Devil Breaks You. I've seen these around BookTube. People have a lot of good things about them, so I'm hoping I'm going to love them as well. The first book follows a girl named Evie who ends up getting kicked out of her school, and she moves to New York, and this is also set during the 1920s, so I feel like that's going to be a fun time. But she goes to New York to be with her uncle, who's actually obsessed with the occult, and at this time it seemed as like a taboo subject. However, Evie is hiding a paranormal power that she has. She might end up having to use it because there is a murder that happens in the town where a girl is found branded with an occult symbol. So I feel like this is going to be a lot of fun to read. I haven't read anything by Libba Bray yet. I do have I believe it is the Gemma Doyle trilogy by her, so I'm hoping that I'm gonna love that one and love this as well, and it just seems like it's gonna be a fun read. It's gonna be one that I might become addicted to. This next one is another book that is part of a series. I only have the first one, and that is Emancipated by M.G. Reyes. This follows a group of teenagers who live under one roof. They have all been emancipated from their parents, so they kind of form this little family. They're, you know, helping each other take care of each other. One day, their family is kind of threatened to crumble when one of them is arrested for, I believe, murder. I haven't read anything where there's been characters that have been emancipated, and it just seems like it's going to be a fun read. I believe reading the other books that are in the series, like the summary, I think there's going to be like a love triangle, and it's just gonna be like a soapy kind of fun read, so I love those ones where I can just easily go in and just, it becomes like a guilty pleasure. This next one is another retelling, and that is Anastasia and Her Sisters by Carolyn Meyer. This actually, like I said, is just an Anastasia retelling, and I believe this is going to take place right before the assassination of the family happens. So it was another one that attracted me on our clearance shelf. It's a quick read, it looks like, and yeah, I don't know. There's just really not a lot to say about it, except it's just an Anastasia retelling. And I have my last book here, so boo, the haul is coming to an end, but this is another book that I've seen floating around YouTube, and that is Kissing in America by Margot Rabb. It follows a girl named Eva who is obsessed with romance novels. I believe, yes, she has read 118 of them, it says, to be exact, and she uses romance novels just kind of to delve into a world because 2 years ago her father passed away. So it's how she's kind of grieving and just kind of keeping herself busy. One day she meets a boy named Will who kind of understands what she's going through, and she has this amazing chemistry and connection. He, without warning her, he decides he's going to move to California, and her best friend decide they are going to road trip across America to find him. And I feel like it's going to be a great coming of age story. It's going to be dealing with a lot of heavy topics, especially grief, because I've lost both of my parents, so I feel like this is going to be one that's going to kind of show me how someone deals with grief, and I don't know, I just feel like it's going to be kind of cute, and I hope it's one that I'm going to enjoy reading as well. Well, there you have it, guys. That is my January book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope maybe there's a couple reads in there that you want to look up yourself and read. And if you have read any of these, let me know what you thought. Is it one that you loved? Is it one that you hated? I always like getting feedback from people and just comparing it when I'm done reading to see if I kind of had the same feeling. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!